Welcome once again to Param Biology. I am Jayant Deshmukh and today we are going to deal with or discuss very important topic from your neuronal coordination or nervous coordination from chapter number 21, that is the sense organ eye. As you know, eye is a spherical structure, right, which is located in the orbits of your skull. So, eyes are spherical, located in the orbit of your skull with the diameter of 2.5 centimeter and movement of which is supported by different kinds of muscles present in it. So, there are basically 6 kinds of muscles present in your eye which regulate movement of your eyeball. So, these 6 muscles are, first one is superior oblique, second is inferior oblique, third superior rectus, fourth is inferior rectus, fifth external rectus and sixth is your internal rectus. So, these 6 kind of muscles regulate movement of eyeball, right, and these 6 muscles are innervated by different kinds of neurons. So, nerves I mean, so cranial nerves innervates this 6 type of muscles in your eye I mean. So, these cranial nerves are cranial nerve number 3rd, 4th and 6th. These 3 cranial nerves innervate these various types of muscles which regulate different types of movements of your eyeball. That means rolling, there would be a rolling movement of eyes or side to side movement of your eyes. It would be controlled by these 3 cranial nerves, that is oculomotor, that is your trochlear and abducens. These 3 cranial nerves support these muscles and regulate movement of eyeball. Well, so this eye basically it is made up of 3 coats or 3 layers. So, outermost coat is named as fibrous coat. Now, fibrous coat again divisible into 2 parts, that is sclera and your cornea. Well, this second middle layer, it is vascular coat or vascular layer. Vascular itself indicates that it is supplied with blood vessels, so it must be dark in color. Again it has 3 parts. First is your choroid, second is your ciliary body and last is iris. So, these 3 structures makes your vascular coat, and innermost coat is termed as retina, and again retina has got 4 layers. Outermost layer which is non-sensory, which is made up of epithelium, we will discuss it later. Second is made up of cones and rods. Third layer is made up of bipolar cells, and lastly last layer is made up of ganglion cells. Later on these ganglion cells will converge various nerve fibers arising from it, and it will converge into optic nerve that will be supplied with your cortex of brain. Well, so these are different coats of your eye. So, we will discuss it one by one. So, fibrous coat has 2 layers, you have mentioned it, and first layer is sclera, fibrous coat, sclera. As you can see in the diagram, that is sclera which is in contact with choroid, that means choroid has to be in contact with sclera. So, sclera form 5/6 part of this outermost fibrous coat, it forms 5/6 part of fibrous coat, and most part of which is which remains hidden or remains concealed in the orbit. Well, so this is the sclera, and which is made up of, which is tough fibrous. This layer is tough fibrous connective tissue. It is made up of tough fibrous connective tissue, and mainly the fibers present in it are collagen fibers. So, this is about your sclera. The second layer is cornea, anterior most region of eye, anterior most region, which is transparent and convex anteriorly. That means cornea, this is your cornea which is transparent, which is convex and which is present in the anterior most region. So, this cornea is again covered with some transparent layer, and which is made up of stratified epithelium, right, and that stratified epithelial layer is called as conjunctiva. Cornea is covered by stratified epithelial layer called conjunctiva, right. Now, this sclera, we will say it is popularly known as white of eye. Why? Because it appears white, and most of the portion of this, it is hidden in the orbit, right. Well, so this is about your sclera and cornea. The next layer is vascular coat. Vascular coat, again it is made up of choroid. In the diagram you can see choroid, it is the dark layer, which is thick layer, which is vascular. It is dark, vascular and delicate layer of your vascular coat, right. It is pigmented, that means there is a presence of pigment, that is why we say that it is dark in color. And darkness in the eye, interior of eye, darkness in interior of eye is maintained with the help of this choroid, and this choroid supplies blood to retina. Keep this in mind that the blood supply to retina take place with the help of this vascular layer, that is choroid. One thing about cornea, cornea is a avascular. This is vascular, we said it is avascular, right, means it is not supplied with any kind of blood vessels. So, transplantation of cornea is the easiest one in case of eye, as there is no presence of blood, no chances of antigen antibody reaction, means graft rejection is least in the case of transplanting cornea. So, cornea transplantation is the easiest thing in case of various surgeries included in your eye, right. Well, so choroid, it is dark vascular delicate layer, it is pigmented, it provides darkness to interior of your eye and it supplies blood to retina. And next function of this choroid, it does not allow reflected light within the eye. Internally reflected light is kept within eyes. That means whatever the light reflects internally, it is not allowed to emit from your eyes, and that function is performed by choroid. Next layer is ciliary body. Now, second part, ciliary body. Now, what is the location of ciliary body? See, you can see ciliary body lies at the marginal region of your iris. It lies at the margins, just behind the margins, we can say behind the margins of iris. Now, this ciliary body is made up of two things. One is ciliary muscles and second is ciliary processes. This green color portion here, zigzag portion, is ciliary process or ciliary processes. Now, what is the function of these ciliary processes? These ciliary processes secrete aqueous humor in aqueous chamber. This is aqueous chamber. Aqueous chamber is present in between cornea and lens. Now, aqueous fluid or aqueous humor is present in this chamber, that is aqueous chamber, and this fluid humor is secreted with the help of ciliary processes. Now, one more thing, at the junction of cornea and sclera ends up here and cornea ends here. So, at the junction of this sclera and cornea, there is a presence of canal of Schlemm, right. So, what is the function of this canal of Schlemm? Canal of Schlemm, it drains out this aqueous humor into the blood. That means what? As we said, ciliary processes secrete aqueous humor, in this aqueous chamber, it is continuously formed. As it is continuously formed, it needs to be drained out of this aqueous chamber. So, firstly it drains in canal of Schlemm, and canal of Schlemm then drains it out into the blood vessel. So, that is the function of canal of Schlemm. Though it is not mentioned in NCERT, you need to keep it in mind, right? Okay. So, ciliary body, we saw ciliary body. Next part is your iris. Iris, this red color portion we have sketched here. So, iris is a red color portion. So, red coloration of eye is because of our color which is provided to the eye, it is by virtue of presence of your iris. Now, again this iris is made up of two types of muscles, that is irradial muscles. That means radial muscles are present and circular muscles are present. Now, this muscles movement help in opening and closing of this pupil. That means length of this pupil. What is pupil? Pupil is the aperture found in between the iris. These are two iris, and in between it is perforated with some aperture, and that aperture is termed as pupil. And what is the function of pupil? Pupil allows entry of amount of light into the eye. So, the length of this pupil, right, or opening of this pupil is controlled by this ciliary radial and circular muscles of iris. That means what? In bright light, for example, our eyes are constricted. That means size of pupil decreases, and that decrease is because of this iris. And in dim light, we can say the length of this pupil increases, and which is because of this irradial muscles, that is radial and circular muscles of iris. So, it is the colored portion of your eye, that is iris. Well, so this is about the second layer of your eye, that is second coat I mean. Now, third innermost layer, which is made up of, or which is called as retina. As we already have mentioned, it has four layers. Outermost layer, it is non-sensory, and which is made up of pigmented epithelium. Well, so outermost layer of retina, it is non-sensory in nature and which is pigmented, and the pigment present in this layer is melanin. Now, second layer, this is first, we will say it A, second layer B, and B layer is made up of cones and rods. Now, cones and rods, these names are given because of their shapes, right? So, cones are less in number in comparison to rods. Rods are numerous, and quantity of which is 115 to 125 million, and this is around 6.3 to 6.8 million in your eyes, right? That means proportion we can take around 15-16 times rods are more in comparison to cones. Now, cones are responsible for colorful vision, and these rods are responsible for black and white vision. Now, this black and white vision is also termed as scotopic vision or dim light vision, we can say, and this colorful vision is called as photopic vision. That means nocturnal animals, for example, nocturnal animals means animals which dwells in the night. So, the proportion of rods is more in case of nocturnal animals. Why? Because they have to dwell in the night. So, dim light vision, that is black and white vision, is by virtue of presence of your rods. So, rod has assigned the function of darkness. So, quantity of rods is more in case of nocturnal animals, and cones are less in number, right. So, there is a presence of some pigment. These are the pigmented cells. So, different kinds of pigments are present in rods and cones. In cones, there is a presence of iodopsin, and in case of rods, that is rhodopsin. Now, this rhodopsin is again made up of protein opsin and aldehyde derivative, that is retinal. Well, and this rhodopsin is also called as visual purple, and this iodopsin is termed as visual violet. So, colorful vision or color we can see are because of these cones, and the black and white vision we can see it is because of rods. Now again these cones are of three types, that is erythrolabes, cyanolabes and chlorolabes. Name itself indicate erythro means red. These cells are responsible for red coloration. Cyano means blue, means this it is responsible for blue coloration, identification of blue color, and chloro means green. That means there are three types of pigments present in your cones, that is red color, blue color and green color, and simultaneous excitation of these three cells, if the erythrolab, cyanolab and chlorolab, these are simultaneously stimulated, then it gives us white vision. Clear? Rhodopsin, as we said, it is also termed as visual purple, and which is made up of protein opsin. Opsin is a protein, and retinal AL, that is aldehyde, it is derivative of aldehyde. So this is about the second layer of your retina, that is cones and rods, right. Now next is third layer, that is made up of bipolar cells. C, bipolar cells, and fourth is D, your ganglion cells. Now ganglion cells gives ganglionic fibers. These ganglionic fibers converge to form nerve fibers, and these nerve fibers emerges as your, here we will write, emerge as optic nerve, and this optic nerve will be provided or supplied to cortex of your brain. And which part is responsible for vision? That is your occipital lobe of brain, right. So these are different kinds of layers which are present in the retina. Now come here, we will observe the diagram again. So this is cornea, and if you can observe, just opposite to center of cornea, this is center of cornea, and just opposite to the center there is a presence of some region, and that region is called as macula lutea, which is yellow colored body, macula lutea, and it shows presence of some depression. Macula lutea shows some depression, and that depression is known as fovea centralis. Now what is the function of fovea centralis? This fovea centralis is responsible for acuity of vision. That means only cones are present in this region, only cones are present, rods are absent. That means colorful vision, acuity, that is sharpness of vision, is because of this fovea. Why? Because only cones are present, rods are absent. Now just besides this, there is a presence of some area where no cones and no rods are present. In this area, no cones and rods are present, and this area is termed as your optic disc or blind spot. Clear this? What is blind spot of optic disc? It is the area where there is absence of rods and cones, and from where arises optic nerve, which is supplied to cortical region of your brain, right. So this is your blind spot. No image formation take place on blind spot. Here there is no image formation. Clear this? Well, now sclera, choroid, iris, lens. Now power of accommodation, it is because of biconvexity of this lens. I will write it here, accommodation. Accommodation is because of convexity of lens. One more thing, some region is teeth like region which is present, it is the internal structure of eye. So some teeth like region present in contact with lens, and that is termed as your ora serrata. What is the function of ora serrata? Ora serrata demarcates the sensory and non-sensory part of your retina. It demarcates sensory and non-sensory part of retina, that is about ora serrata. Though it is not explained in NCERT, just for sake of knowledge, understand this. Well, so we have dealt with the different sorry, different parts of your eye. So this is about the structure of eye and various function, how it is made of, and various functions performed by different types of cells. Now, muscles of the ciliary body and suspensory ligament, the action of these two is responsible for changing the focal length of this lens. The focal length of lens is changed with the help of action of ciliary body and suspensory ligaments. Next thing is, there is the presence of vitreous chamber in between lens and retina, as your aqueous chamber is present in cornea and in between cornea and lens. Similarly, in between lens and retina there is presence of vitreous chamber, which is filled with vitreous humor, and the function of this humor is to maintain the pressure in the eyeball. Otherwise, if pressure in the eyeball is increased, that results into some disorder, and that is termed as glaucoma, right? Well, some another function which is drawn here, there is this green structure which is termed as ora serrata, and the function of this ora serrata is to demarcate sensory and non-sensory part of your retina. That is all about the structure and function of eye is. Now we will see the mechanism of vision, right? Well, now we will see the mechanism of vision, how light enters into the eye and how image is pursued by us, right? So very first, light waves will enter your eye, light waves of visible wavelength enter your eye through cornea, then it will pass to lens and then on rods and cones. As this light passes on to the rods and cones, these are stimulated, right? So rods and cones are stimulated and impulse is generated. Impulse is generated. As the impulse is generated, it causes photopigment, that is rhodopsin, to break into opsin and retinal. As we earlier said that this rhodopsin is made up of these two, that is protein and this aldehyde. Because of this, membrane permeability changes and action potential generated, right? Now once this action potential is generated, I will write it here, action potential is generated and which is passed to bipolar cells, third layer we already discussed, and then this action potential will pass to ganglion cells, which will be sent through your optic nerve to visual cortex of brain, and finally image is pursued. Okay, we will once again repeat this. What happened? Light waves of visual wavelength entered eyes through cornea, then lens, and which falls on your rods and cones. It gets stimulated, then action potential is generated. It causes breaking of this rhodopsin pigment present in the rods, which forms opsin and retinal. Means these are the derived product from rhodopsin. As this opsin and retinal are dissociated from one another, it causes membrane permeability to change. As the membrane permeability changes, action potential is generated, and this action potential then passes to bipolar cells, then to ganglion cells, and through optic nerve it is passed on to the visual cortex of your brain, that is occipital lobe, and image is pursued. And this is how image is pursued, and this is about the mechanism of vision, right? So we have finished the structure of eye, then various functions performed by different regions of eye, and mechanism of vision. Thank you.